Guys, we have got some really big FNAF movie news from Scott Cawthon himself. He made a Reddit post today explaining the progress of the movie, all the ideas and the scrapped ideas, and honestly it's really interesting, so let's get started reading the Reddit post. So, hi everyone. Before we get to the bad news concerning the state of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I wanted to share a brief history of the Fnaf screenplay. It's been a long road, so let's take a look at some of the screenplays that have come and gone over the years, in no particular order, or feel free to skip to the end really quick to see the bad news, and then come back and enjoy the list. Some of these came from big studios, some from big directors, some from me, and some from other hired writers. I gave the screenplays a name, and I'll include a brief synopsis, as well as what's ultimately led to each screenplay being rejected. Let's get started. The F Screenplay. Basic setup. A group of teenage troublemakers break into Freddy's. Chaos ensues. Problem. Although a pretty basic setup, there were a lot of odd choices here, which only got weirder as the story continued. The story ended with our protagonist in a secret underground animatronic factory that was designing robots for the government. Verdict: strayed way too far from source material. Tossed. Then the next one is the Plushies Take Manhattan screenplay. Basic setup: Plushies take Manhattan. Problems: Plushies took Manhattan. Verdict: burn with fire. The next one is called the Random Charlie Screenplay. Now, I think by Random Charlie Screenplay, as Scott will say later on here, it's not the actual Charlie as in Henry's daughter. This is just a random one. Basic setup: Charlie and friends sneak into Freddy's after hours to retrieve a lost toy. Problems: although sharing names of familiar characters from the series, these characters had nothing to do with their game and book counterparts. So while featuring familiar elements of the games, it seemed too loosely based on the game, and lost a lot of its impact because of it. Verdict: felt like a random bag of FNAF elements with no real stakes. Meh. The Silver Eye screenplays. Basic setup: Kira and I both worked on 3 versions of a Silver Eye screenplay over the course of about a year, trying to find the right approach to the story from the first book. Problems: these were the first attempt I made myself to write a screenplay after realizing it was going to be difficult to find someone else who understood the lore well enough to do it. Unfortunately, it also meant these screenplays suffered greatly from my inexperience at writing. Even Kira, with her writing expertise, couldn't save them. Verdict: although these had some good elements, I ultimately decided to focus on making a screenplay from the games and not from the books. Which is honestly really amazing. I'm really happy that he's doing it from the games and not the books. Next is the Pawn Shop screenplay. Basic setup: a kid who watches after a pawn shop finds trouble when an animatronic is brought in. It turns out Freddy's had been robbed and the animatronics were taken to different locations for sale. The other animatronics come to retrieve the one at the pawn shop, and the kid and his friends get roped into adventure. Problems: a creative approach, but felt a little too much like a boy and his animatronic. Too much after-school adventure, not enough horror. Verdict: seemed like a good idea at the time. I think horror should play a really big part in the movie. As I've said in the past, I really want to see William getting spring-locked. I'm not sure if the story is even going to be about that, but if they include that would be amazing. That would be a dream come true. The next one is the Cassidy screenplay. Now, basically, Scott's outright saying that Cassidy is an important character, basically. So, basic setup. Diving deep, this screenplay packed in a lot of lore following the story of Cassidy. I'm sure it would have been really interesting for us to see the story of Cassidy in the movie, but it's been scrapped. Problems: spanning multiple time periods, following multiple characters, and featuring lore from multiple games. This was pretty saturated to a fault. It may have been satisfying to the most hardcore fans, but it would have left the majority of people confused and lost. Hey, wait, maybe this was the most accurate screenplay. Verdict: ultimately, more of a visual encyclopedia than a movie. This just wasn't satisfying, even to me. Out. I think the hardcore fans and the theorists would have really enjoyed the lore-packed movie, but again, it's been scrapped, and I think Scott wants the movie to kind of appeal for all the fans, not just the hardcore fans and theorists like us. And the next one is the Misfit Kid screenplay. Basic setup. Single mom brings her kid to a new town. Kid finds Freddy's. Hilarity ensues. I hope I pronounced that word correctly. Apologies if I didn't. Problems. One of the problems in creating a modern day story with an old Freddy setting is finding a way to connect the protagonists to the restaurant, finding a reason for them to be there and finding a reason for them to stay. The problem here is that the reason for this kid to go to Freddy's and have misadventures was too contrived and too forced. Verdict. Not a bad setup, but it just didn't work. If I don't care about the characters, then there's a good chance no one else will pass. This was going to be the screenplay for a while, because it didn't have any serious flaws. I ultimately just decided it wasn't good enough though. I think if a character is going to go to Freddy's or has a connection to Freddy's, they should have some sort of backstory and some sort of reason to actually go to Freddy's, just like Michael Afton going back to Freddy's because of his father's crimes and him kind of feeling bad for killing his younger brother. The Ghost Tracker's screenplay reminds me a bit of the Ghostbusters. Basic setup. A group of amateur ghost trackers sneak into the abandoned Freddy's. Problems. Although a very common sense setup for this sort of movie, the problem again arose about how to give these characters a connection to Freddy's itself. What ended up happening was too much of the story went to their own backstories and their own hardships, and it took the spotlight away from the story of Freddy's. Verdict. A stronger connection between protagonist and Freddy was needed. Lesson learned. The next one is the Insane screenplay. Basic setup. Another Ghost Tracker variation. This one involved a fun time animatronics, underground ball pit tunnels, and a marionette out for revenge. Ooh, reminds you of Charlie. Problems. As some other screenplays ventured too far into adventure, this one went too far into action. Verdict. Too all over the place with too many characters doing too many things. The next one is the Mike screenplay. Basic setup. This makes sense. Why didn't I think of this before? Problems. Actually, this is a good mix. It has the best pieces from all the previous screenplays. Not really any problems here. All the right characters, all the right motivations, all the right stakes. Verdict. Yeah, we're going with this one. It's fun, it's scary, and it has a great central story. So we're going with the Mike screenplay. Now, Michael Afton. Yes, I am so excited for this. It's gonna be about Michael Afton, the main protagonist. I mean, one of the main characters in the games. If it's about Michael Afton, I think I mean, there's no doubt they're gonna talk about William Afton, Elizabeth Afton, the crying child as well. Heck, it may even help us solve some of the lore. I doubt it will, but it could. I am extremely excited. The Mike screenplay. Just having the word Mike there is so satisfying. Oh. I am really happy. And then he said, alright, so on to the bad news. The bad news is that there won't be any more screenplays to add to this list since we're officially making the Mike screenplay. Yes. Filming starts in spring, which is not that far away. I am very happy. Me equals happy. Yes. I'm sure everyone else is happy. In my Discord server, a lot of people were happy. We were all talking about the movie, and I do not know what to say. Genuinely, I am speechless. It's the Mike screenplay. The Mike screenplay seems like the best one, honestly. Not just because Scott said he's gonna go with it, but I genuinely think it seems like the best one. Michael Afton is one of the main characters in the Fnaf story. It makes sense to make the movie about him, and my two favorite ones would have either been the Mike one or the Cassidy one. The Cassidy one because Cassidy links to Golden Freddy, and Golden Freddy is one of these characters that we really want to know about. And so is Cassidy because I mean, we know that Golden Freddy almost 100% confirmed. I don't want to trigger anyone who doesn't believe in this theory, so I'm going to say almost, even though I believe this theory is 100% correct. This theory is almost 100% true that the crying child is also in Golden Freddy. So knowing about Cassidy as well would be a really interesting thing. But I think Scott made a good choice going with the Mike one because, as I said, Michael Afton is the main character. Going into more detail about the Afton family would be really interesting. So, filming is going to start in spring, and I'm assuming the movie is going to be in production for around 1 to 2 years. So we're going to wait until end of 2021 or early or mid 2022. It's going to be worth the wait, guys. I know it's going to be worth the wait. Yeah, it's definitely going to be worth it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about this, about the movie. I'm really excited to see what you guys think, and yeah, that's it for this video. I will see you guys in the next video, and see you later. Bye.